Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. That's the book of Psalms 2 and 8. All right, the 144,000 will take part in enslaving heathens around the world when Yahushua comes back to deliver the elect and establish dominance to Israel on this earth, right? And this is near future prophecy that is about to unfold. Okay, and the 144,000 are being awakened. Okay, sealed from the foundation of the earth. So with that, call Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Shemakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who teach well peace, and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity. All right. And today's lesson is going to be centered around Yahushai, first and foremost, and the 144,000 that are going to be joint heirs with Yahushai will take part in enslaving the nations around the world when Yahushua comes back. Okay, and I asked the chat GPT about Isaiah 14 and 1, which we're going to get into that. All right, but this is according to Bible prophecy. All right, all the nations that have enslaved Israel will be enslaved. Okay, which today the Israelites are made up of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right, we are the Israelites. We are the ones that, underwent the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right, and now we're also going to be slated to receive the blessings that come along with Deuteronomy 28. The first verse down to about the 14th verse. Okay. So the first scripture I opened up with is Psalms 2 and 8. Okay. And this is a promise that the Heavenly Father promised to the Messiah. Okay. Psalms 2 and 8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession, which is going into these other nations, the heathens, okay? The Lord, Yahweh, is going to bless Yahushua with dominion over the nations. All right. So I'm going to read it again. So like in Psalms 2 and 8, it says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And the uttermost parts of the earth is really the whole earth is going to be, being taken down when Yahushua comes back. All right. Let me grab this. This is which the 144,000 are going to be joint heirs. So let me go there real quick. This is Romans 8 and 16. It says, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, right? Because it's not about how you look. You don't have to look, like a so-called black man or a so-called Hispanic or a so-called Native American to be an Israelite. You got Israelites that look like all nations. Okay, so it's not about how you appear or look. It's about the Spirit of the Most High. Okay, and the Spirit of the Most High, bears witness to the children of the Most High. All right, it says, and if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahushua. So an heir, which I'm going to get the definition. Okay, it says a person legally entitled to the property or rank of another on that person's death. A person's inheriting and continuing the legacy of predecessors. Okay, so we're going to inherit everything that Yahweh Shai is going to inherit. We're going to be joint heirs. So that inheritance that the Father is going to give to Yahweh Shai in turn is going to give it also to his elect, starting with the 144,000. Okay, which the 144,000 are all men. All right. So it says, and if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. So we're going to be glorified with Yahweh Shai when he comes back, right? We are going to take part in enslaving to other nations, man. You know, the Chinese, Japanese, so-called white man, you know, East Indian, you know, so on and so forth. All the nations that are not Israelites are going to be going into slavery. All right, and Yahweh Shai is gonna, we're gonna slap chains on them. That's why the prophecy says this. Let's go there real quick. So yes, slavery will be taking place in the kingdom of heaven. All right. Psalms 149 in verse 6, it says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. And this is going to happen in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, we're actually going to have a literal, sword, okay, a weapon, which, we are going to be a weapon. You men of Yahweh Shai are going to be a weapon of mass destruction. It says, verse 7, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. So this is going to be fulfilled in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, vengeance is going to be executed upon the heathen. All the nations that have part in enslaving Israel, they are going to be enslaved. And this is a Bible prophecy, right? It says, and punishments upon the people. Yeah, so these nations are going to be getting punished. Okay. This is a AI overview for punishment. In its broadest sense is the imposition of something unwelcome or unpleasant on a person or animal in response to an undesirable behavior. Okay. So it's going to be very unpleasant for you Edomites in the kingdom of heaven. All right. Yeah, you're going to be in the kingdom of heaven, but your position in the kingdom of heaven is going to be being a servant, a slave. Okay. Not to mention that the Israelite man is going to have spiritual powers. So we're going to be able to literally get in the minds of these Edomites and fuck them up. Okay. To the next level. The scriptures talk about meditating terror. So the slavery that we went through as Israelites, the transatlantic slave trade, and you see the movies, 12 Years a Slave and, Django and different movies about slavery, right? That's nothing compared to what these heathens about to get, bro. Because the Israelite man is going to be raised up as immortal, as a god with spiritual power. And with that power, we're going to go around enslaving the nations, putting these nations in order and subjection to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? So this is all about to take place. And this is what Esau is scared of. This is why Esau is scared seeing the southern and the northern kingdom coming back together. All right. Psalms 149:7, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of irons, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. So yeah, the saints of the Most High as the scriptures say, shall take the kingdom. And this is going to be a great honor to fulfill the will of Yahweh Shai, to execute the judgment that is written in enslaving the nations around the earth. That is actually going to take place. These nations are going to be going into slavery, into captivity. All right. And there's no escaping it. Okay. This is fate. This is prophecy. All right. And prophecy will be fulfilled. For what if some did not believe, as the scriptures say? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid. Just because you don't believe does not mean it's not going to happen. Everybody's going to see it. Every eye shall see. Okay? So this prophecy is going to be fulfilled. We're going to bind their kings with chains. Right? We're literally going to put chains on these Edomites, these devils, and these other nations as well. Right? And all these prophecies we're going into, all these scriptures we're going into proves that. All right. See, Esau, he thought he got away. You know, the so-called white man, you thought you got away with enslaving the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you thought you got away. No, it was a judgment for what happened in the past. And the scriptures tell you that. The Lord requires. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes 3:15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And the Most High requireth that which is past. So yeah, the past is going to be required. All right. So you didn't get away with enslaving the Israelites. Okay. And this is part of the gospel, the good news. And the good news is for Israel. It's not for everybody. The good news is for the nation of Israel, man. Starting with the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, and the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be raised up as immortals, as gods. The 144,000 along Yahweh Shai will take part in enslaving the heathens around the world and establishing righteousness, the laws, statutes, and the commandments of Yahweh Shai. This earth is going to be set back in order. All right, because this man, this so-called white man, has literally, flipped this world upside down. The earth is ran in wickedness. There's no, judgment isn't executed speedily, and Esau, his judgment is wicked. All right. But see, these devils going to be in the field soon, just like Jacob was in the field picking cotton and strawberries, hard labor. That's what Esau is going to get. All right. This is Revelation 13, 9 and 10. It says, he that hath an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right. What's another word for captivity? Is slavery. Another word for captivity is what? Slavery. Okay. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So this is going to be the patience and the faith of the saints of the Most High. So these nations that put us in slavery, this is Bible prophecy. You can't just, you can't just enslave a whole nation and think you're just going to get away with it. No, what's going to happen is there's going to be retribution. There's going to be judgment that comes behind that. And the judgment that Esau, the so-called white man, is going to have to face, along with these other nations, the heathen nations, they're going to have to face slavery as well. All right? You think God, the Most High, is going to allow you to enslave his chosen people without you being enslaved? And you're nothing. The scriptures say that you're counted as spittle unto him. So, of course, you're going to be enslaved. All right? And we're going to have fun fucking you devils up, fucking you heathens up, week in and week out. This is the reality of the matter. This is the truth. Right? Like I said, the Most High is going to grant his men spiritual power. All right? Power of a God, power that you see in movies. Okay? Let's go here. This is Genesis 27 and 28. Therefore, the Most High will give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curses thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee. Yeah, and that's ultimately the blessing that's going to come to Israel. Okay? Okay? That nations are going to bow down. All right? These nations are going to bow down to Israel, man. See, we going back to royalty, and Esau is going back to being the peasant, being a base man. We're going back to pure royalty, man. Okay? Godhood. Going back to being gods. All right? So nations are going to bow down. Okay? This is I got Isaiah 14 and 1. I got it in the chat GPT. I just put it real quick. I said, is Isaiah 14 and 1 and 2 talking about Israel putting their oppressors in captivity? And this is what the chat GPT says. It says, yes, Isaiah 14 and 1 through 2 does describe a future time when Israel will be vindicated and the roles will be reversed, where Israel will rule over their oppressors. And who is our number one oppressor? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So this is future prophecy. Even chat GPT knows. This passage is part of a prophetic vision of restoration for Israel after a period of suffering and oppression. Okay? So now we're coming to the time of the restoration period. Because we've already went through the period of suffering, and we're going to go also through the period of suffering during the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay? But directly after that time of Jacob's trouble, and really in the midst of Jacob's trouble, the deliverance is going to come, and the restoration of Israel, starting with the elect, is going to take place. Right? And Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to set his men up. All right? As gods among the earth, judges. All right? The saints of the Most High shall do what? Shall take the kingdom. All right? This is what's about to happen. All right? This is what the men of the Lord are about to inherit. Okay? So let's get it. Isaiah 14 and 1. It says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So mercy is going to be shown unto Jacob and Israel, man. No other nations are going to be joined with us in the kingdom of heaven. The Gentiles of the New Testament are Israelites that had lost their nationality. And, you know, elder apostles, elders, bishops have done thousands of lessons about the Israelite foreigners, also labeled as Gentiles in the New Testament. The Gentiles that are going to be saved and the Gentiles that are going to be joined, the strangers that are going to be joined to Israel are Israelites that lost their heritage. Okay, so salvation is only for Israel, man. Okay, starting with the elect. Isaiah 14 and 1, it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers in Isaiah 14 and 1 is going into Israelite foreigners. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And we see that happening now. Right? You know, for the younger brothers and newer brothers and sisters that are just now waking up, you were a stranger. And now you're cleaving unto the house of Jacob by cleaving unto this truth. We was all strangers. Okay? And we heard this truth. And what do? We cleaved unto the house of Jacob. Cleaving unto the truth, cleaving unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Verse 2, and the people shall take them. Yeah, so we are going to take the other nations, right? It says, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. So these other nations are going to be servants and handmaids in the kingdom of heaven. Somebody got to be a servant in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, let's get the definition of possess. Okay? To occupy, to hold, to inhabit, without regard to ownership. Okay? To have, to hold, to having power, powerful. Okay? To hold one in control, to be a master of, to own. So we're going to possess the heathens in the land of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We're going to own them. We're going to be masters over. Okay? It says the meaning also is to hold as property. Yeah, they're going to be property. To seize, to take possession of. To control. Yeah, we're going to control the other nations. All right? This is future prophecy that's coming. Okay? It says, let's read Isaiah 14:2 again. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Yeah, so we're going to take these other nations as captives. Okay, put them into captivity, into slavery. Another word for captivity is slavery. Right? These other nations are going to be enslaved. Okay, and I'm going to play this video at the end of this. The video you see playing, and the elder Apostle Hart goes into it, how, you know, when Yahweh Shai comes back and delivers us, we're going to be changed into gods. Okay, and we're going to come down and enslave the world, and these other nations, they may try to fight us. All right, and we're going to have fun, as the elder Apostle Hart says, kicking much ass. Okay, we don't meditate terror, bro. All right. So yes, slavery is in the Bible, and slavery is a future prophecy that's coming to these other nations. Beautiful. Shalom, Naikwam. Numbers 24:18, and Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Yeah, so Edom, which is another word for Esau, who is the so-called white man, is going to be a possession. We're going to own them. And, you know, then we're going to Obadiah 1:18 them. It won't be done away with. Okay? Lamentations 4:17, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished. Yeah, we went into slavery. You know, the punishment of us going off and not keeping the first covenant was we would go into captivity, and that happened already. Right? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Oof. And Edom shall be a possession. All right? Yeah, beautiful. Psalm 75:7. For in the hand of the Lord is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring out and drink. Okay? Which this is going into slavery. The dregs, the cup. Okay? That we had to drink. That cup represents slavery. See, these nations, they're going to get the bitter end of it. The dregs. Okay? Going to drink the dregs. Okay? So yes, the 144,000 will take part in enslaving the heathens around the world along with Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is going to be the head. Okay? This is Isaiah 61:1. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to their captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. Okay, so this is about to take place. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. Yeah, and this is all to ultimately glorify the Heavenly Father. Okay, via the only begotten Son, Yahushua. And they shall build the old waste, they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. Yeah, and who's going to do the building? These other nations. Okay, we're not going to be out there in the field building the palace. You know, building the palaces is going to be the other nations. It says, verse 5, it says, and strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Yeah, they won't be in the field. But ye shall be named the priests of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and their glory shall you boast yourselves. Yeah, so ultimately we're going to take all the possessions of the other nations. Okay, we're going to have all the fatness of the earth, all the resources, the gold, you know, the silver, the oil, milk and honey. Everything is going to be given unto Israel, man. All right, so I'm going to play this video, and that'll be that. The elect will take part in enslaving the world.
If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints.
The elect are coming. The gods of the earth are coming.
Psalm 2. Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces, like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him.
The elect are coming. The gods of the earth are coming.
Look, when Babylon is destroyed on fire, it's going to shake up the whole world. We're going to be beamed up. The hopeful elect, if we're the elect, we're going to be beamed up. And we're going to see this destruction pursuant to Psalms 91 and other scriptures. And we're going to hover over Babylon, and we're going to see the destruction. We're going to get a ringside seat to the war of Armageddon. And then we're going to come back down. When we come back down to the earth, we taking everything over. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom.
The elect are coming. The gods of the earth are coming.
When we come down now, we can say this. Them people, when we come back to earth, as the X-Men, Marvel comic, DC comic men, the Thanoses and the Kal-Els and so forth, when we come back down with superhuman, extraterrestrial, celestial bodies, they may attempt to fight us like we're aliens. And we're going to kick much ass, and we're going to have fun kicking their ass. I'm talking about the people around the world. That's what it's meant by the saints of the Most High, the Israelites, starting with the men, will take the kingdom.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
Lasers gonna come out of our eyes and fuck you up. Lasers gonna come out of our mouth. Look, when we come back down there, some of you crackers are gonna try us, and we're gonna have fun fucking your asses up.
All Rangers, I need you to engage the target. Guardian, this is Dr. 01. What about the guy in blue? I said engage all targets.
The elect are coming. The gods of the earth are coming.
You know? Like Pinhead. We coming like Pinhead on your ass. We coming like, we gonna say, let the games begin and commence to fucking your ass up.